Hi folks, and welcome to the first episode of the new Division briefing series. With the recent release of Warlords of New York for the Division 2, I'm here to show you my efforts to take down the 4 new Warlord bosses that the game presents you with. And in between those episodes, I'll be delving into some of the game's lore and characters to help you understand exactly what the agents of the Divisions are up against. First, we're going to jump back in time to the first Division game and show you what real-world event the actual Division storyline is based on.
In 2001, a real-world exercise tested the emergency response to a bioterror attack on the continental United States. The operation was called Dark Winter. Within just a few days, the simulation spiraled out of control. The operation predicted a rapid breakdown in essential institutions, civil disorder, and massive civilian casualties. Dark Winter has revealed how vulnerable we've become. Our lifestyle, our security, our safety, depends on a delicate and unstable economy. We've created a system so complicated that we no longer understand how to control it. Oil, power, shipping, transport. We live in a complex world. And the more complex it gets, the more fragile it becomes. The system is built on a global supply chain that gets things where they're needed, just in time. We've created a house of cards. Remove just one, and everything falls apart. And what's fueling this system?
Money. Americans can spend $90 billion in a single day of shopping. Last year, 200 million people swarmed their local stores on November 23rd. We call that day Black Friday. Did you know that a flu virus can survive on the surface of a banknote for up to 17 days? One day there will be a pandemic. It could begin during the crush of Black Friday sales. A pathogen will jump from tainted banknotes to human skin, onto food, toys, children, and loved ones. By the time patient zero feels the first sore throat, millions of people will already be infected. From this point, the breakdown will happen fast.
Day 1, hospitals will reach capacity. Panic will strike. Day 2, quarantine zones will be established. Resources will be rationed. Transport will go into lockdown. Day 3, international trade will stop. The oil will dry up. The stock market will collapse. Day 4, the power will fail. The shelves will be empty. The taps will run dry. And once hunger and despair take hold, people will do anything for survival. By day 5, everyone will be a potential threat.
In 2007, a new presidential directive was signed quietly into law. This maps out the government's response to a crisis, a plan to cope with a real dark winter. It is known as Directive 51. There are rumors of shadow agencies, sleeper cells, covert agents, but nothing can be confirmed.
Our complex world is primed for breakdown.
And once the chaos strikes,
there won't be resources to save us all.
The only question left is, what will it take to save what remains?
What you just watched there was a video released by Ubisoft as an advertisement for the Division 1 game. But it was, in fact, a real thing that happened. In 2001, between the dates of June the 22nd and June 23rd, the US government really did conduct a senior-level bioterrorist attack simulation codenamed Dark Winter. Dark Winter was focused on evaluating the inadequacies of a national emergency response during the use of a biological weapon against the American populace. The simulation was then designed to spiral out of control. This would create a contingency in which the National Security Council struggled to determine both the origin of the attack as well as deal with containing the spreading virus. But not being able to keep pace with the disease's rate of spread, a new catastrophic contingency emerges in which massive civilian casualties would overwhelm America's emergency response capabilities. Pretty scary stuff, but this is what Tom Clancy used to create the Division storyline, and here's how it all goes down in the first Division game.
What you're looking at is the smallpox virus, one of the deadliest pathogens on the planet. For centuries, it did a wonderful job of helping keep the human population in check. But times change, and sometimes Mother Nature needs a hand in improving her creations. Like, say, speeding them up a little bit, making them contagious when they should be quietly incubating in a host, or making them more lethal. I didn't come up with the approach on my own. My friend Vitaly is one of the pioneers in the field, and the idea has been around for years. Genome as data. You see, once we digitized DNA, we made it infinitely mutable. We could do 1,000 virtual variations in the time it used to take to grow a one-lab-grade generation of pathogens. And we could pick the best, most lethal combinations and make them real. That's how you make a killer virus, you see. Mix in genetic code from other diseases, and you move the sliders all the way up on lethality and virulence. The goal was a 90% mortality rate. I'm not sure my green poison is going to quite hit that, but honestly, that's just details. As long as most of humanity goes, the Earth stands a fighting chance. Technically, technology is what's killing the planet. But that's not really the case. It's the greed that drives the technology. But a funny thing happened on the way to $100 genome maps and 3D printed plastic toys. Someone figured out those technologies could be repurposed, modified for the greater good. Me. Now, my virus is going to do what nature's always done. Decide who lives and who dies. And if nature decides I die, then I die. If nothing else, I'll have a lot of company. Natural selection at its finest, helped along by a little unnatural genetic manipulation. It's all data, really. Life's just a method of processing it. The same way I processed the smallpox genome on my laptop. And who's to say that wasn't the plan all along? If, by some miracle, you survive green poison, then nature's decided you deserve to live. The rest of us shouldn't and won't. Godspeed. I'll see you in hell.
That was Gordon Amethyst, the creator of the green poison virus, a super version of smallpox that creates the disaster in which the Division game is based around. I will be doing a full bio on him in an upcoming episode. The virus itself spread via $1 bills tainted with the super version of smallpox Amethyst created. These bills were distributed during American Black Friday sales to increase the infection rate, due to how many people will be handling the bills. And it worked.
You know, this Black Friday, you can sleep in.
All over the region, retailers are calling this their 149,000 stores offering sales in the cash sales changing hands. Starting in New York, and we know because hit the stores. The flu season is off to its earliest start.
Appears to be a previously unknown variant of the flu, suspected case catching many experts off guard.
Today I was feeling like maybe
Back on the breaking news, leading with unconfirmed reports of a smallpox outbreak.
Is a highly rehearsed scenario.
And National Guard units converging on a hospital in central
Bridges are
Manhattan.
closed. It's
Smallpox is a very real danger.
AIDS, more than a bullet.
not enough vaccines.
Let me stop you there. This is not a panic situation.
An entire American city
Known as the Green Poison, Central Park has been converted to a mass burial ground.
Power outages, gas line leaks, fires. The government's
expecting another night of widespread looting.
People of New York are begging for
wood house.
any available units. Fire and health to the first responders are either dead
No resources available.
or treated like animals.
It's not a job. We're not trained for that.
It is after this disaster that the US government uses Directive 51 and activates the Division.
When we were activated,
We knew the situation was bad. Worse than anyone knew. We are an elite, highly skilled group of embedded agents. They only call us when everything else has failed. We have no rules. We have no limits. Our job is to protect what remains.
We are your co-workers. We are your neighbors. We might even be your friends.
But when we get the call,
we leave everything behind.
We are
the Division.
And with this fall of society and the activation of the Division agents to try and take control and make order out of chaos, various factions around the city rose to power and tried to take control of the streets.
When our city started to collapse, the dark side of humanity took control of the streets.
This city fell apart. It's crazy out here. Every man for himself. Survival of the fittest. You gotta take what you need in this world.
This world is our playground now, and no one's here to stop us. We got out of Rikers jail, and we ain't ever going back in the hole. It's all ours now. We're the new kings of these streets.
These streets must be sanitized. To save our city, we must burn away this disease. Every trace of it, no matter the cost.
Freedom is not a right. Liberty is not a given. This city needs an iron fist to restore order. There shall be no resistance. No matter who stands in our way.
And with that, folks, it brings me to the end of the first episode of the Division Briefing. I hope you've enjoyed a little look back and a little in-depth look at where the Division story comes from. In the next episode, we'll be moving on to Division 2. We'll be covering what the Division 2 storyline is, and then eventually what will lead into the Warlords of New York. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Lance, aka Lima Tango. For all things respawning, check us out on respawning.co.uk. Obviously, subscribe and like this video to see more stuff from both myself and the rest of the Respawning crew. Thank you very much for watching once again, and ciao for now.